Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning everyone. I am Siti Nur Hanis binti Mohd Zainol and currently I'm doing PhD in Universiti Utara, Malaysia, Sintok, Kedah, Malaysia. Today I'll be presenting on needs analysis of primary school English teachers toward e-learning integration in vocabulary teaching. Now, let's look at the outline of the presentation of the day. First, I will start with the introduction of the topic, literature review, method, followed with findings, discussion, conclusion, and last but not least, the contact numbers to be contacted for further inquiries. The introduction of the topic. Now, this study is actually based on CFR-based curriculum, specifically focusing in Malaysian context. As you can see in the map here where I put there, this shows the countries that have adopted CFR framework. Okay, and this one is the proficiency levels that CFR framework has offered us, where A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, C2 are the 6 levels that English learners will be categorized to. Alright. Okay, so who will be dealing with the curriculum is the primary school English teachers. They will be dealing with the CFR curriculum, and they are also will be dealing with the teaching of these kids using this CFR based curriculum. So they have to enhance their pedagogical skills, enhance and improve their skills in utilizing e-learning tools, as well as the way they teach the kids as well. So e-learning, we believe these technologies offer the potential to actively involve students. First, actively involve students. Second, improve their ability to remember words. And the third one is to apply new language according to Wiranata et al. 2024 and Wang and Chiu 2023. Okay, let's look at this comparison between traditional methods and modern method. As we can see, traditional method is the method that has been utilized widely in our classroom for many years before. It is a very teacher-centered instruction where the use of textbooks and blackboards is very wide. Okay, it involves memorization and repetition a lot, and it limited student collaboration. Whereas, as you can see in this side picture, where e-learning is a focus, then I can see that this modern method is a student-centered instruction where it involves the use of digital tools and e-learning platforms, and it involves interactive and engaging activities, and it also emphasizes on collaboration and communication in the learning and teaching processes. Okay, let's look at the literature review of the topic. Okay, first, I will touch on the overview of e-learning in education and e-learning in language education itself specifically. So the definition of e-learning is provided where it involves the use of electronic technologies for assessing educational curriculum beyond the confines of a conventional classroom. Okay, and it has experienced substantial expansion in recent decades. This is according to Clark and Mayer 2016. And what is happening in two primary school English language teachers? As you can see, this is derived. The circular is derived from the SKP document standard that is provided by our Ministry of Education, where the first lesson of the week will be started with listening lessons, followed with speaking lessons, reading lessons, writing lessons, language arts, or grammar for level 2 students. However, there's no emphasis being given on vocabulary, which is very crucial and very fundamental before these 4 or 5 main skills. Alright, so it has been outlined indirectly in our DSKP that vocabulary is taught implicitly, where the students are not being taught vocabulary directly, highlighted one by one and being reinforced. No, there's no more there's no such kind of vocabulary introduction in our curriculum. All right, so everything is introduced implicitly in the context, in the text, in the teaching of the other 4 skills. So this invites some sort of problem for these low proficiency students, especially in rural areas, And I know this will not be a problem for students in urban areas where they are very high proficiency in English. And one of my respondents also claimed that she has experience teaching in these two schools, urban schools and also rural schools. And she says that it is very different. And in urban school, they can actually grab the language, they can actually grab the vocabulary simultaneously with the teaching of the teaching of these four main skills. But for these rural kids, she says it is very contradicting. They need help. They really need help. It must be highlighted. It must be repeatedly introduced to them, and it must be taught in a different technique, in various techniques, so that it will engage them. All right. Okay. So the next literature review is on the needs analysis in education, which is the focus of this article. All right, where the analysis, the needs of the teachers and the discrepancy are also analyzed. So we utilize McKillip models, which is the discrepancy models of needs analysis. It is by McKillip in 1987. All right. And the last but not least is the integration of e-learning in primary education and the teacher's perspective on e-learning itself. All right. Okay, let's look at the previous studies done here. Okay, based on the previous studies here, we can see there are about 8 studies that I've actually collected and I've actually been done my literature review. So most of the studies actually were conducted in qualitative approach, because they plan or they intend to actually look at the in-depth understanding of the phenomenon and in-depth understanding of the situation taking place. And only 2 rows that has been highlighted with a yellow here. All right, only these 2 studies actually integrate or actually adopt quantitative studies, where the first row, the yellow first row, the first yellow row is actually asking responses from the teachers and students, but the limitation is they do not actually covers the CFR based curriculum. Okay, they do not study our population. And then the second row, it only consider responses from the students and not the teachers. But we actually focuses on teachers so that their needs and their expectation are analyzed. All right, so the methodological gap is obvious here, where we are going to utilize a quantitative approach. And the population gap is also is in the study, where we want to actually study and focus on the CFR based curriculum in Malaysian context. And the last but not least, a theoretical gap, where these studies that I've outlined here, they do not mention clearly what models they are using in actually investigating the difficulties. But this study intend to use McKillip models, where the teacher's needs and the teacher's expectation is catered well. All right, let's look at the theoretical framework. So we have McKillip's here. McKillip's model, what it provides a systematic method for conducting a needs analysis, because it emphasizes the identification of differences between the existing and intended levels of performance. This is by McKillip 1987. So the gap is obvious between the current and the existing and the intended levels. All right. So there are actually 4 levels. All right, in McKillip models. The first one is to define the problem. Second one, we proceed to identify the priorities. And the third step is to develop the solution itself. And the fourth step is making it a valuable tool for educational research. So I hope this covers the needs of the teachers, and also it provides a solution at the same time by the end of the analysis. Okay, so the research question of the study is, what is the need for FBBEVI module to facilitate the Year 5 CEFR based English language teaching and learning in primary school? So the module is the end product of the third phase later on in the bigger study. So is there a need for resources? All right. So this study will be conducted quantitatively, and it involves 30 participants only, as it is only a pilot study. And I will be utilizing questionnaire as the instruments to conduct this study. And the software that will be used is SPSS version 2.2, as it is very suitable for social sciences, and it will involve descriptive analysis. Okay, let's look at the findings. The first findings is I would like to investigate on the current practices of English primary school teachers in Padang Track district. and we can see that the most percentage goes to teachers who rarely use the uh, multimedia resources. This may probably because of the lack of time, okay, like needs it requires lots of preparation to use these multimedia resources, so they rarely use this. But only one teacher says that never use this technology, this multimedia resources. Right, let's further proceed to the access to sufficient multimedia resources for vocabulary instruction. Okay, impressively, 80% of the teachers, okay, which represents to 24 out of 30 teachers, they actually says and they actually claims that the access to multimedia resources for vocabulary instruction is actually sufficient, but only 20% saying contradictory, which is 20%. However, let's look at the next findings. When they are asked on the quality of available multimedia resources, it is actually revealing the truth, where even though they have sufficient multimedia resources around them, but the quality is quite disappointing. All right, so only 43% of them saying that the quality is good, but none of them saying that the quality is at excellent level. All right, and 20% of them saying that it is at a poor level. So this can be a stepping stone for us to look at how can we improve the system. And then let's look at the main challenges in implementing CFR aligned vocabulary instruction. Since this is a very new thing for these teachers, this is a very new framework and it is considered as difficult for teachers. Okay, they are even afraid of the term CFR aligned curriculum when we go to the field. All right, and then we can see that the teachers agreed that they have inadequate resources. For example, they have less resources in terms of module, they have less resources in terms of multimedia resources, tools, for example, the tools, facilitating tools, and then there may be lack of software. Okay, all right. So, and the last one is actually other challenges, which goes to 17% of the population. All right. Okay, is it important for the teachers to have a structured multimedia enhanced instructional resources for vocabulary instruction? Yes, impressively, 24 out of 30% agree that they need this. This may probably because they think that when they have a very structured multimedia enhanced instructional resources for vocabulary instruction, the teaching process will be easier, their workload will be reduced, their cognitive load is also lessened. All right. Okay. Okay, next. The last but not least is the need for more professional developments in using in e-learning tools. So 15%, about half of the population for the sample agree that they need more professional development in using e-learning tools, because they are actually even teachers and they are not Gen Z, right? So they need help in this kind of things. They can carry out this kind of thing in the classroom. They can use it. They can utilize this software, these learning tools in the classroom, but they need help in utilizing that beforehand. All right. Okay. So this is the who will be benefit a lot from this study. So teachers and students will be benefited a lot from these studies, because it facilitates the acquisition of English first, all right, and then it enhances teaching and learning process for both teachers and students, all right. And then the second one, it will be beneficial for policymaker, because they can transform the education by fostering collaboration between learning module creators and interactive technology. And Ministry of Education also, they might utilize the end product of this study. I mean, after the third phase, okay, where the end product, which is FBBFI module, is there, and then it will be considered as a reference to enhance the educational resources offered to teacher training institutes, or maybe for professional development courses at schools among teachers, as well as the reinforcement in the school system. All right. Okay. Before last but not least, embrace technology, enhance learning, transform vocabulary acquisition forever. Gendo, language experts. With that, I would like to thank you for lending me your ears. Okay. I'm looking forward to your comments, feedbacks, and suggestions for improvements. With that, I end my presentation. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi